Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast with your host, Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 215. That's the big old 215. I have a great guest lined up for you today. But I should say, as always, Shop Talk. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, both at Casting for Two. Or if you want to leave me a nice little message about the show, you can always do that on iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher. And Sunday Brunch is the other podcast that I host with the always lovely, beautiful, talented female Megan Johnson. And she's from tipsywriter.com. I suggest everybody go check out that site. Sunday Brunch, you can listen to that on all the previous sites I said, as well as sundaybrunchpod.com. And Comic Bento, still sponsoring the show, still going. Make sure to use the promo code casting2. That's the promo code, the casting and the number 2, and get $5 off your first subscription. And so I think that's pretty much it. I'm perfecting all these I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, everybody. My guest for today is a wonderful and talented actress, writer, director, just a good person in general, Danielle Cole. And I was excited to chat with her about horror movies, getting to character, and all sorts of other great stuff. And she, in all honesty, was a huge blast to talk to. And she's going to be at Toronto Fest. I don't know what it's called, but she's doing a lot of shows, improv shows. And I suggest people go check them out. She says it I can't remember it. But I need to stop talking and get into this episode, all right? So, Chris, cue the music, please. I am doing well. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you wonderfully. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great.
I forgot that I had to mess with one setting, so I quickly did that. So I was just double checking you could hear me.
Yeah, you're coming through completely clear.
Dang, see, I wanted the opposite. I wanted it to be bad. Dang it.
Well, and usually that happens because Canadian internet is made of maple syrup.
That's true. I lived in Canada for a bit when I was going to school, so I get it.
Oh, where did you go to school?
I went to school in Victoria, British Columbia.
Oh, it's beautiful out there.
I always tell people I feel like it's my second home just because I love it so much up there.
Yeah, I feel like anyone who goes to BC, they're like, this is my second home, or I'm moving, goodbye.
Right, exactly. And, not to be mean to all my Vancouverites and all my Vancouver friends out there, but, I went to Vancouver looking for schools, and I was just, this is, it's all right. And then once I saw Victoria, that was it.
Victoria, I totally get that. Though I have to say, Vancouver, the fact that it's a big city and there's a forest in the city,
right,
pretty incredible.
Right. Yeah, it's funny that Vancouver, Canada in general, is just a great melting pot of just anything you need. You want it to look like Europe, you got it. You want it to look like America, you got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and you're now, I'm assuming you're in the Toronto area?
I am in Toronto, yeah.
Okay. And how's Toronto?
It's great. It's a little cold here right now, but that's also not unusual because it's Canada.
Right.
But otherwise, it's really nice. It's a very multicultural city, and we're very lucky in that way because the culture is diverse, the food is diverse. Yeah, I love it.
Nice, nice. Now, were there any plans when you were, getting into acting of saying, you know what, everyone goes to New York or L.A. or Vancouver. That's what I'm going to do.
Um, at points,
Uh-huh.
yes, but also, so what happened to me is I graduated from high school when I was pretty young, and so I went to school where I could still live at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a massive car accident
Mm.
just a couple of weeks before I was supposed to graduate from school. And so my original plan when I graduated from school was that I was going to apply to the National Theatre School in Montreal or go move to LA.
Uh-huh.
And I ended up spending my last couple of months of school relearning to walk properly while trying to manage the classes that I couldn't drop and take in the summer.
Right.
And so I had applied to a master's degree at the University of Toronto on a complete whim, thinking
Uh-huh.
there was no way that I would get into it. And they accepted me, and I went, I can't walk properly. There's no way I can do theater school next year, and there's no way moving to LA with the American healthcare system
Right.
is a better idea than staying in Ontario where I had health care and I could get physiotherapy and I could do all these things. So I went, well, I'll go to my master's for a year and I'll act in Toronto and I'll see how that goes and I'll reassess.
Mm-hmm.
And by the next year, I ended up applying to a PhD and, and I had started building my career here. And so I went, well, why would I dump everything that I've built up over the last year? And so I stayed.
Yeah, yeah. No, it seems like you were, I mean, in the best way, destined to be in Ontario.
Yeah, I think that there's always the potential for switching it up, and that's
Right.
the thing about the film industry now is Vancouver's strong, LA is strong, New York is strong, and Toronto's strong.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can say, I'm going to go to the West Coast now, or I'm going to go to LA now.
Right.
And Atlanta now is really strong for
Yeah.
film as well. So that's always an option. But so far the timing has been right to be in Toronto, and I've had a lot of great opportunities here. So it's really worked out for me.
Right. No, I totally understand that. It's like, hey, I want to go finally check out that internet in America. I hear it's not covered in maple syrup.
That's true. I hear rumors of it. I
It's
hear
not.
that
Yeah.
it runs on wires and satellites and things.
I mean, what you've heard is absolutely correct. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted you to figure that out, but also I always like to tease people that every Canadian show is a spin-off of Degrassi.
It's true.
Yes,
When I
every
think
single
of
show.
when I think of Orphan Black, I think
De-
that is the Degrassi spinoff.
exactly, exactly. The Littlest Hobo, the spin-off of Degrassi, even though it came first. Corner Gas, all those shows spin-off of Degrassi.
So true. All of this is true.
So I feel like we should talk about your early acting, or you getting into acting, because it's a pretty interesting story. When did you catch the acting bug?
When I was 4,
Mm-hmm.
my parents loved the Stratford Festival, and so one of the first productions that they took me to, because they would take us, my brother and I, several times per year as we were growing up, and one of the first ones was A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched the first half of the show, and then my mom took me to the bathroom because I'm 4, and she went, you have to go to the bathroom at intermission, so you won't have to go to the bathroom during the second half of the show.
Right.
And I did not have to go to the bathroom, so while she went to the bathroom, I was dancing in front of the mirror where the sinks were and saying over and over again, I'm going to be a fairy when I grow up. I'm going to be a fairy. And my mother came out from the bathroom and said, you can't be a fairy because fairies don't exist,
Aw.
and explained to me that the people on stage were actors. And so that's when I said, okay, I'm going to be an actor. And that was it. After that, I was going to be an actor.
I'm
There were a couple of like little tiny months where I went, I'm going to be a ballet dancer. And then there was another little period where I was going to be a vet.
okay.
And then a tiny period when I was 12 where I went, I think I want to be an engineer, but only if Star Trek is real by the time that I'm an adult.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And then after that, I went, well, that's not going to happen. So I guess I should be an actor because that's the closest I'm going to get.
It's absolutely crazy that it's 2017 and there's still no flying cars.
I know.
It makes no sense to. I mean, there's jetpacks, kind of, but they're not real cool jetpack. It's. I don't know. I don't know. It makes me sad that there's not. We don't have flying car licenses.
I know. It makes me sad as well. I feel like when I was a kid, I was sitting there going, oh, yeah, the adults will figure this out. By the time I'm a grown-up, we're going to have, Star Trek-style spaceships. We won't
Right.
need money anymore. The entire world is going to be at peace. Everything's going to be amazing. And now all I have to say is everyone who is an adult when I was a kid, why are you such slackers? Why did you not figure this all out?
Right, right. Yeah, no. Now they leave it to us and then we'll leave it to, the our kids and kids and it's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, now we're the slackers for the next generation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Jeez. Well, no. I don't know. Yeah, hopefully it'll get better. So I'm curious. Your mom told you that there were no fairies in the world. When did you find out Santa Claus wasn't real?
Ooh, I don't actually have a memory of when I found
Okay.
out Santa Claus wasn't real. I remember that when I asked, my mom had explained that Santa Claus isn't really a person.
Oh, okay.
Santa Claus is a spirit of giving that is inside all of us. And so Santa Claus kind of always was and wasn't real. But I don't even really remember what age that happened at.
I feel like that is a way smarter thing to do than to flat out lie to kids for a majority of their lives, and then just because I speak for myself. I was way too old when I realized Santa Claus wasn't real. So had my parents told me that he was in all of us, it would have made it so much better.
I think it helps because it makes you internalize the idea that you can be Santa Claus by giving to other people, which when I was a kid, I remember seemed so amazing
Yeah.
that I went, oh, I can actually become Santa Claus by caring about and investing in the people around me. This is incredible.
Yeah.
But
God.
my mother also, on the other side of this, still every Christmas will write her gift tags as, things are from the elves, from the
Right.
reindeer. And we all know it's from her, but she just enjoys doing that. So,
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, some habits never, you can't get rid of them. So that's fine.
so I think the very important question of this interview is how old were you when you found out Santa Claus wasn't real?
Oh my gosh, I was like maybe 8, 9 around there. Um, I remember. So people like to leave, cookies and milk for Santa Claus. I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave him gifts because that's he gives me gifts. Why don't I do the same thing for him? And so I did, and it was just like some keychains and stuff like that. And then a week later, I found all the keychains and crap in my parents' hutch, and it was just
Oh no.
yeah. So and then after that, it's ruined. But I remember as a kid vividly hearing reindeer on the roof and the sleigh and somebody coming down the chimney and the cookie eating noise. I don't know if it was all that was my imagination, but I swear I remember hearing all of that, and so that's why it rocked me a little bit.
Maybe it was your imagination, but maybe you just had really dedicated parents.
I doubt I don't know. I don't see my parents getting on the roof and making reindeer noises and sleigh noises. Now, eating the cookies probably that makes sense. But yeah, no, it's yeah. I sometimes miss that imagination of just hearing Santa Claus. Now it's just meh. Who cares? He's yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a sad thing for a lot of people when it is that sort of defining moment between Santa Claus exists and Santa Claus doesn't. Is I
Right.
feel like my friends went, and then Christmas was ruined. And for me, I'm like, it's not even a thing where I remember when it happened, because to me, I went, this just makes Christmas even better.
Right. Yeah, see, and now that I have nieces and nephews, and everyone's on the ooh, so you better be good for Santa, and I just look at my parents and go, you really gonna lie to them? You're gonna tell them this? But I just do it for fun. I would never actually be the person to spoil the beans for them.
Yeah, it's hard if it's not your own kids.
Right,
I see that one not going over well.
right,
Uh,
right. Yeah, see that's why I keep my mouth shut. But you know, eventually the and kids they're all into magic, and I don't want to ruin they believe in Elf on the Shelf.
Oh, mm. That one creeps me out. I don't think I would have done well with Elf on the Shelf. I would have felt like there's this person always watching me.
Yeah, it's I didn't grow up with Elf on the Shelf, so this is completely new to me. I don't know when or where it came from, but it's uh yeah, no, it's definitely very creepy, and I think it should go away.
Yeah, it feels like paranoia in the making. Like we're gonna have a whole generation of adults going, someone's watching me all the time. And they're always looking at me, and it's gonna be because of Elf on the Shelf.
Right, it's the government, man. They're the elf on the shelf. Yeah, no, I could absolutely see that.
I
Um,
do.
so, so as much as I'd love to talk about, okay, so what was the best Christmas gift you've ever gotten?
Ooh, the best Christmas gift. I will say it wasn't actually a Christmas gift. It was a birthday gift. But the
Okay.
best gift that I have ever gotten is I used to have a crystal rabbit that my parents had given to me for Christmas
Mm-hmm.
when I was young. And when they moved, they they moved to France for 2 years and then came back to Canada, and they didn't have everything in their house in order by the time that they had to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so other family members finished up cleaning up the house. And I was there for some of the time, but not all of it. And by the time I got there, the crystal rabbit was gone, and no one could remember what they had done with it.
Oh.
And so I told my partner at the time and just described this crystal rabbit that was sitting down, um, explained kind of what it looked like. And my partner went out, found the right one
Oh.
in the right size, and got it for me for a birthday present. And so I now have it. I'm actually looking at it as we're talking. And it's in a special cabinet, and I love it because it's just such a nice gift to
Yeah.
go back down. Yeah, it is by far the most amazing gift I've ever received because of the amount of effort and care that went into it, and just the listening that I had said, oh, I'm really sad because this rabbit was important to me when I was young, and I wanted to put it in my house now. And that passing conversation came back, months later as a birthday present. It's incredible.
That's definitely a sign of a good listener.
Oh, for sure.
and and so in that time when you didn't have that crystal rabbit. Is that what you would use to fuel your acting bug? Is that
Yes,
that's how you would get into character? You'd remember about that crystal rabbit that left you?
absolutely. You know, when I did Scars and I played a serial killer, it's actually all about the rabbit.
I knew it. I knew it. There's all, everybody has their way of getting into character.
That is my entire acting process, is that I think about the rabbit. And now
It's
it's ruined because now the rabbit is back. So now I can only do things where I'm happy.
Jeez. Well, boo that. There's no happy roles out there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I tend to gravitate a lot to genre work. So
Yeah.
horror, sci-fi, fantasy. There are very few happy roles.
Now, what? And I'm curious because I wouldn't say I'm a diehard fan of horror. I like horror. I'll watch horror movies. I'm still looking for that one that scares the crap out of me. But for you, what is it about horror that you like?
I've always enjoyed horror films. I've always found something interesting in their ability to affect people,
Mm-hmm.
because I think sci-fi, horror, and fantasy all sort of dig into us in a way that on the surface seems unexpected given how far they are removed from a lot of people's realities, day-to-day realities.
Mm-hmm.
But yet I think because of that, they can allow us to engage on levels that we don't in something that is so close to most of our day-to-day lives.
Mm-hmm.
The first horror film that really got me into the genre was the original version of The Haunting, because it's terrifying. It's black and white, and it's so scary. And I loved it because it could scare me,
Yeah.
and it can still scare me to this day. And I thought there's something so exciting about creating something that can have that emotional impact on somebody. And so I just stayed with the genre, and not just horror specifically. Horror has found me as an actor as well, as has sci-fi and fantasy, and it just was amazing that they overlap with my own passions.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky to work on Scars, and that film in particular, what I loved about it is it was horror meets art house. And it was looking at two female serial killers, but then it also has this entire thread that addresses the war in Iraq. And the director, when I first met with him, said, look, I really see this film being about, once you start down a path of violence, where does it stop? And once you're in a situation, where is the point where it's gone so far that you no longer feel able to get out of it? And what are the things that can get us to start down those paths and start that journey? And then what is the point where you realize what's really happening, and then you don't want to be part of something anymore?
Right. So.
And all those are just amazing, interesting ideas. And again, what I love about genre is often they engage with such huge ideas and really important questions about ethics and humanity and the future and our goals as a species. That's really exciting to me.
And it also makes it, like you said, a interesting project, not only to work on, but also, to watch.
I hope so. We have really good responses, especially from the States.
Uh-huh.
Certainly, it's something that is geared more towards the States and to Canada because of the relationship with the Iraq War. And, we heard that on the media, and I know that it was something very heavily discussed in America, of course. And, yeah, we have had amazingly wonderful responses, especially from the States, which always is very rewarding.
Because you got to the film went to a film festival in San Antonio, and that is currently where I am sitting in.
I was told that. Yes, the film went, and I went to San Antonio, and boy, is San Antonio hot.
Yeah. It is. It sucks. I hate it. Just the heat, the humidity. It's even when it's right now, it's dark, stormy, and windy. You still feel the heat, and it's so annoying.
Yeah, I will say, I love San Antonio as a city, love the film festival,
Mm-hmm.
but the number one thing for me was the first day that I got there,
Oh.
I walked outside, and I went, now I understand blasting air conditioning. I just want to go back inside and have all the air conditioning on me right now.
Anybody who gets off that plane, I totally know what you're talking about because it's just this blast of ugh. It's just, and it doesn't feel good, and you feel miserable, and it's just ugh. Let me just stay inside. Let me turn on the AC, turn on a fan, and just chill. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, that was a brand new experience for me. And I had just come from LA
Mm-hmm.
because Scott was playing at the Action on Film Festival, and I had just been there and then went straight to San Antonio the morning after the award ceremony there,
Uh-huh.
and got off the airplane and just was hit with this, all I can describe as a wall of heat. But it does make it easy to want to go and sit in the movie theater all day.
Yes.
I was like, I'm here. I will watch everything. I don't even want to go outside ever again. Can I sleep in the movie theater, please?
Do you remember where the movie theater was?
It was the Alamo Draft House,
Gotcha.
but
Yeah.
it was the one that was further outside of town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, the Draft House is an experience unto itself, and so yeah, I don't blame you. Whenever I go to movies, I'm at the point where I don't mind seeing one movie, but if I'm here, I might as well see two or three.
Of course, and especially a film festival because it's amazing, and you get to meet everyone. You get to talk about their work and see what they've done. I love film festivals. I can spend all day just watching the movies.
And so this is actually a pretty good transition to now you are getting, or you're not getting into, but writing and directing is something that you're also passionate about. What was the process on you saying, you know what, I want to do this now?
Writing for me, I had done a bit of writing in school,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been largely playwriting. And then when my acting career started taking off, I went, well, I don't know. I'm not a trained writer. I am a trained actor. I probably don't really know what I'm doing with writing based on the limited amount of training that I had for it in
Mm-hmm.
school. And then during Scars, I got close to the writer-director. And he was about to go on to a television project right after the film. And I said, look, I've always been really interested in writing. I've written a couple of short films. I've done some playwriting. Would you look at a couple of things I've done, and would you consider letting me be your assistant
Mm-hmm.
on your next project? And so he watched stuff and read stuff, and he said, yeah, sure, that's fine. And
Yeah, whatever.
he was nicer about it than that. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Um, but he basically went, yes, I would work. I would do that. I would let you do that. So I then became his mentee, and
Mm.
he taught me about writing, and he introduced me to everybody. We got along very well. So I worked now I can't talk. I worked as his assistant for a year, and then I started working with him, co-writing with him,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started writing on my own. And, I just, by then, was trained as a writer. I loved it. and continued on and continued doing it. And then directing, there are so few female directors in the film industry. And a lot of it was that I felt like I had a vision for certain projects. And there were certain projects where I had written them or I had been asked to come on board with them on the producing side. And I had a vision and there wasn't a director already. And I said, look, this is how I see the project. And the rest of the team said, we would get behind that. And to me, I feel like if you're a woman in the industry and you want there to be more women who are directing, it's also up to you to step up to the plate if and when you feel ready to do that, and also to seek out other women who are directors and that's their passion and to work with them. Mm-hmm. And I feel, similarly that for guys, there's a responsibility to make that room for female directors and to stand behind and endorse and hire women for projects. Otherwise, it doesn't change, right?
Right. No, I completely agree. I remember, this year Wonder Woman came out, and I thought it was a great film. I remember reading an article that saying like the studio took a chance on Patty Jenkins as a director. And it didn't make sense to me because she was an Academy Award winning director. Like what? How do you take a chance on somebody like that who's very skillful? It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's wild, right? It's wild that you can be a woman and win an Academy Award, and that still isn't enough.
Right. It was. It was, and then James Cameron. I don't want to talk too much into it, but he came out and it's just like, James Cameron, you gave us Avatar. Be quiet, please. Just quiet. Just shh. But yeah, I'm fully supportive of female in anything, especially filmmaker. So I remember, and also they came out with the Forbes, top, paid actors. And you see Mark Wahlberg made like $65 million or something around that. And then Emma Stone, who is the top paid actor, made like 24. I can't wait to see the day when those things flip and, a woman is actually making way more. That's exciting to me.
That is very exciting. And I think that's one of the things as well with Scars that drew me was it was almost entirely a female-led crew. Mm-hmm. We had a female cinematographer, which is rare for feature film, and it was a story about two women, and the leads are both women, and it really was about having a team that has strong female voices in film. Mm-hmm. And we were all encouraged to speak up. It wasn't a team that was Sean leading it as a guy, as the writer-director, and saying, okay, I've hired a bunch of women, now all be quiet because I'm going to tell you what to do.
Right.
He came in and he said, look, the main characters are women. I've hired a team with a lot of the creative leads being women. I want to hear your voices. I want this to be collaborative. And I really want to promote women in film on and off camera. Mm. And he stood behind that, and that was a huge part of the process.
I think that's wonderful. We need more people like that.
Yeah, it was great. And also, very deliberately in the writing, there were choices to avoid some of the cliches that we see with female characters. Mm-hmm. That often, if there's a female serial killer, there's a story about how she was abused as a child and this led her to that. Or, she was raped as an adult and that's what led her to being a serial killer. And Sean and I talked early in the process and he said, I want that any backstory that Scar gives, we have to question the truth of it. And I don't want that there is a sexual assault abuse history Not because that doesn't happen to a lot of women, because we know it does, but
Mhm.
because we've seen that over and over again as the reason. And he said, I don't want that as the reason. And I was with that as well. I was completely on board and felt the same way, that we have this idea, I feel, that men can engage in acts just because they can, and women, there has to be something that has happened to them in order for them to do this.
Right.
And we wanted to break that genre convention and challenge that and say, well, what if Scar is a killer because she's a killer?
Right.
And she wants to do this. And we filled in a lot of why does she want to do this, but we didn't make it, this is the one singular narrative from a reliable source that explains her.
Right. No, I totally get it. I get it. There's, you know, it's why is the Joker such uh, a wonderful villain? Because, you know, he just is like, meh. I just, you know.
And the point of Scar was that she is meant to be scary. She's almost a force of nature. And, you know, it's the weirdest thing because while we were making the movie, I started having nightmares
Uh-oh.
about Scar. So I would be me, and then here's this me in character coming to kill me, and it's like me, but it's totally not. And it was very scary.
I, yeah. Yeah, no, that, I mean, so were you kind of happy to let that character go?
In ways.
Yeah.
Of, um, playing Scar was very challenging because you have to get inside the mind of someone who is willing to hurt people and torture them and kill
Right.
them. And I came to the project and I'm completely nonviolent,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little different from pacifism because it's more active on the being socially active side, but it's a lot of how can we make the world better without doing it in a way that is violent and without hating people, with trying to look at how do we improve situations and make things truly better. And so I came in saying, I have to understand how somebody can kill other people in this way, and it's something that I don't naturally understand.
Right.
And so I spent a lot of time watching documentaries about serial killers. I watched through all of the Iceman tapes. And that actually was the thing that let me find my way into that part of the character, which was there was a comment made in those tapes where
Mm-hmm.
the Iceman killer said, I see people as furniture, and you don't think of what you do to furniture.
Oh, wow.
And I went, okay, that's something I can hold on to because I understand how I feel about furniture.
Right.
You know, I don't sit on my couch and then leave my house and then wonder how my couch is feeling about the fact that I sat on it. And so I really embrace that as a part of that character, as I have to think of this character interacting with people as though they are chairs and tables and things like that.
Yeah.
And it worked, but certainly by the time you reach the end of having to engage in that line of thinking and remind yourself that that's how this person thinks over and over again for weeks on end, it's a relief to not have to engage with that idea anymore.
No, I completely get it. I mean, this is why I love talking with actors, just because the mindset you have to go into for roles is, you know, it takes a toll on people. Especially, I remember I was talking to this one gentleman who had to play a terrorist. And I was just like, what was that like? He goes, dude, as soon as the project was over, I was happy to stop because it was not fun. He was, he would find himself watching videos that he just didn't know, like he didn't realize he was watching, and he was just like, it was so stressful, but you do what you do as an actor. I'd also like to say I always wonder how my bed's doing. I always miss my bed, so.
I think everybody does. I think the bed, everyone has a special relationship with their bed. But yeah, for sure, it is something where it does take a toll, and I think it takes a toll on you as a person, and it also takes a toll on you in the way that you have to engage with the idea that there are people out there who think this way on a daily basis, and all of a sudden you understand that there are people who think this way on a daily basis, and you've engaged with that headspace in a very limited way and with all of these safeties, right? And I'm not a method actor. I'm not somebody where they yell cut and I'm still there going, you're a chair, you're a chair. And that was very important to me, that there be that divide where at the end of a scene, and once cut is yelled, it's done, because you don't want to mix up any of that mentality at all with your own. And I did do a lot of things. I had special playlists for scars. There was music where once I was done with the character, I stopped listening to it for about a year and a half, and I went, I'm just not listening to anything that I use for scars. Because you need that separation. Yeah, it's always sad when you finish a big project because of the people, and they become your family and your friends, and you spend so much time together. So I had that sadness of, oh, wow, here are people who I see every day almost, and now I don't see them, and I miss them. I want to go talk to them. But there was a relief in letting go of the character, for sure.
There you go. And if you can put yourself into any movie, any role, any time period, which one would you choose?
Lord of the Rings.
Okay, and now who?
Any character in Lord of the Rings. Probably Frodo. I would love to play Frodo in Lord of the Rings.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. I always say I just want to be in the background at the end of the first Ghostbusters where they come out of the apartment complex. I just want to be in the background. I'm good.
Well, you never know. They might do another Ghostbusters remake, and you might have a chance to do the background in that.
You know what? I will take it. I just want to be in there somewhere. I had this brief period of time where I was applying for any movie that I really wanted to do, just because I wanted to be there. I didn't care what I was doing, and so yeah, background, whatever. I'll be a chair. I will literally be a chair if you need me to.
There you go. You should say that. That should be your pitch. Put me in the background of Ghostbusters. I will be a chair.
Yes, exactly. I will be the best chair you've ever seen. Hire me.
I don't know how they could turn down a pitch like that.
I'm sorry to cut this conversation short, but I'm going to go work on my resume. But for the people at home who would like to keep up with everything that you do, where can they do that?
You can find me. I'm under I am Danielle Cole, and that's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then my website is iamdaniellecole.com. And then for anyone who is going to Fan Expo in Toronto this coming weekend, my improv troupe, the Dandies, and I will be performing 5 different improv shows in 5 different fandoms. So we're covering Star Trek, we're covering superheroes, Doctor Who, Buffy, and Harry Potter.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very busy weekend.
Busy, but also fun, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, totally fun.
There you go. Well, so everyone go check out Danielle. And Danielle, thank you so much for chatting with me. I had a blast, and you are welcome to come back anytime, all right?
Oh, thank you, Chris. I had a blast too. This has been a lot of fun.
Well, good. I'm glad. So I'll let you, like I said, I'm going to go work on my resume, and you have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you. You too. You tell me when you get the job as the chair.
Oh, my God. I'm going to, yeah, under special credits, I'm going to thank you. I don't know how I'm going to pull that off, but I'm going to do it.
Okay, this is good. I'm waiting.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Chris. Thank you.